Good morning, guys of grade 8. Today we're going to continue lesson 2, chapter 13. We're still talking about the solution properties. Last time we know what a solution, what solvent, what solute, what types of solution, and then we studied how the water is polar and how this polarity affects the ability of water to dissolve a lot of substances. Today we're going to continue what we started. We're going to talk about the concentration of a solution. What is concentration? Concentration actually it represents how much solute could dissolve in a certain volume of a solvent. That, for example, if you have 100 milliliter of water, how much whatever the solute is that could dissolve in that. So that's represent the concentration. So concentration, it's kind of the mass of the solvent over the volume, the mass of the solute over the mass of over the volume of the solvent. So like this, we could describe the solution to be concentrated if there is a lot of solute dissolved in solvent, or we could describe as diluted solution if there is a little amount of solute dissolved in solvent. So easily here we could calculate the concentration by this formula or that little law that's here. We see that concentration C equals mass of the solute in grams, of course, divided by the volume of solution in liters. So for example here, let's take a practice. Okay, here, suppose you want to calculate the concentration of salt in a 0.4 liter of soap. So 0.4 that represent the volume of the solvent, and then the amount of the solute that dissolve in that solvent is 1.6 grams. So if we have 1.6 grams of salt that is going to dissolve in a soup, for example, which its volume equals 0.4 liters. So how much the concentration is? So simply we're gonna follow the rule. Okay, C equal M over V, the mass of the solute, which is 1.6, divided by the volume of the solvent, which is 0.4 liters. So the result will be 4 gram per liter, which means the concentration of that solution is 4 gram per liter, which means each liter of that solution will contain 4 grams of solute. So here, that's the idea, guys, or that's how we calculate the concentration. Of course, if you have two different concentrations or two different solutions, you can calculate the concentration of each one, and then you can compare between them which one has higher concentration rather than the other. So let's pass to the next here. Okay, this is the way that we could calculate the concentration if we have a solute which is solid that dissolves in a liquid. But in the other hand, if we have another type of solution, which is a solid is gas that is going to dissolve in liquid, or a liquid that is going to dissolve in another liquid, or gas that dissolves in gas. So in case of gases and liquid solutions, okay, we have a different way to calculate the concentration. In this way, we're gonna just divide the volume of the solute, divide the total volume of the solution. So here in that case, okay, we said that we get a percent here. In that case, so we said the total in that case we're gonna calculate because it's gonna be kind of ratio. So we're gonna find the volume of the solute. That means how many liters or how many okay milliliters of the gas or a liquid that is gonna be dissolved in that solution, and then divide this okay volume of the solute over the total volume of the solution. Then here to get the percent, of course, as I said, that's kind of ratio. That because we're going to divide liter by liter, we could okay multiply by 100 to get it as a ratio. Then we pass to the here something which is solubility. What is solubility? Actually, solubility represents the maximum amount of a solute that could be dissolved in a certain volume of a solvent at fixed temperature and pressure. Which means, for example, guys, if you have a cup of water and you start to add a spoon of salt, the spoon of salt will dissolve completely in the water. Then, if you add another spoon, it may dissolve also. But the third or the fourth spoon of salt may be not dissolve, and you're gonna find that still settle down at the bottom of the cup. So we ask here a good question: why this amount of salt does not dissolve while the other three spoons already dissolved? Actually, here, guys, because as we said, that dissolving means that the solute will break down into tiny particles that's gonna hide between the spaces of the particles of the solvent. So once you add the first spoon, already they easily start to hide in the spaces. Second spoon also is okay. Third spoon maybe dissolve or may not. So that's mean at certain point all the internal spaces between the solvent particles will be filled by solute, and there is no more space okay for a new solute to be dissolved in. So in that case the solute will settle down and will not dissolve. At that case we still keep that solubility. So of course, solubility differ from substance to another regarding to the size of this substance or the size of the solute, and also temperature and pressure. They could affect the solubility because by increasing the temperature, particles will move forward faster, okay, and collide more often, which causes solubility to happen faster and increase the spaces between the solvent particles, which allow more solute to be dissolved in. And of course, pressure also affects gases. It could make the solubility increase because under pressure, gases could be compressed or the spaces between the gas particles could be smaller, which will make them easier to hide in another solvent. So like this, in that case, the cup of water which you get as an example, once we add the first spoon, okay, of salt, the cup still has the ability to dissolve more. So in that case, we could describe this solution as unsaturated solution. The solution which still has the ability to dissolve more solute. Okay, so we call it saturated solution. While here, once we add the third or the fourth spoon and they cannot dissolve any salt anymore, or the salt starts to settle down at the cup bottom, so in that case, we call this a saturated solution. So saturated solution, that the solution which the maximum capacity or that has the maximum capacity of solute that cannot dissolve anymore, okay, solid. So here, like this, guys, how that's what is meant by solubility and how that is solution. So that means saturated solution and unsaturated solution also they could refer to. That means the saturated solution is highly concentrated solution regarding to unsaturated one. So then we said that temperature actually could affect that change of solubility as we said before. Okay, so as you could observe this graph, okay, this graph represents the relation between the solubility when we have a certain grams of solid are going to dissolve a fixed amount of solvent, which is 100 grams of water in different temperatures. So as you could observe, by increasing temperature, most substance solubility increases, okay, in different manners or in different rate, but already increases, except some cases like cesium sulfate, as you see here, it's a temperature by increasing temperature, it's a solubility decreases. However, here it represents that increasing temperature will affect the solubility of substance. The major idea that we said that the most common that by increasing temperature, the solubility increases, as we said, because the particles of the solvent will move faster, leaving more spaces between them, which allow more solute to be dissolved in. Then here side we said how we fast dissolving process or how we could make the solid dissolve faster, okay, in the solvent. So this easy here, guys. That's something often we do in our life. So when you add some spoons, okay, of sugar into a cup of tea, you start to stir them. So stirring because stirring allowed to crash, okay, the solid faster, which make it could dissolve easier. Also the temperature, okay, once you try to dissolve something in cold water and it doesn't dissolve good, we start to heat the water up because the warm water, its particles move faster than normal water, so they most often collide, which make the solute dissolves faster and so on. So like this, guys, we already finished our lesson. I hope it's easy. Okay, please study it very well from your textbook. And if you have any question, I'm waiting for your question anytime. Thank you, guys, and goodbye.